Hey guys, welcome to the genre breakdown. In this one, we're going to look at Bubblin by Paak. This is one of my all-time favorite instrumentals, so I'm so excited to talk about it with you guys. And as per usual, if you don't know the song, go listen to it and then come back to this video. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this song uses a sample or not, but either way, I'm going to show you guys a couple tricks to give your instruments a more authentic sound. So let's listen to the intro.
Okay, you got it. Look. Down. Down. Look at you down. Okay, you got it.
The tempo is 162 BPM, and that's really good for a high-energy trap song. So you can hear right away that there's an ethnic sound to it, and that's really determined by the instrument choices they're doing as well as the scale they're using. They're definitely not using a regular major or minor scale. And let's analyze that riff at the bottom. So this is the riff that the bottom instrument is playing. So from the looks of it, it might be a minor Hungarian scale. So all these notes seem to match up. So yeah, it might be that. In the middle voicing, we have a trumpet. This is the pattern that the trumpet's doing. All the notes are set to staccato so that they're really punchy, and I'm just kind of doing a little bit of variation with the velocity, so it's a bit more realistic. Now this E right here isn't part of the minor Hungarian scale, but you know, it still interacts with the melodies really well, so as long as it sounds good, doesn't really matter. I found this reed instrument that kind of sounds similar to the sample, except it has to be an octave lower, and I think the notes are a bit shorter. Now the unfortunate thing is the sample instrument doesn't go to the B, it stops at the C. So what I'm going to do is bring it up one semitone, and I'm going to export this and then just bring it down one semitone from here. So now we should still match the pitch. Yeah, so those two riffs are going throughout the whole thing. That's so good. Let's break down that string section. I pulled up this mellotron that kind of sounds similar to the strings in the sample. So here are the notes being played. For ethnic scales, don't worry about chord progressions and chord quality like that. If B's are tonic, then this would be a ninth, but that stuff doesn't really matter. For these ethnic scales, just really use your ear. If it sounds good, then it's completely fine. I just laid down the bass notes, but in the actual sample, there's a lot of rolling going on. So you can see that it's kind of really sliding to the pitch, but not really a slide, more of a quick roll. So let me show you a trick that I like to do. So first, I'm going to make some empty spaces. So right here and right here, that's where I'm going to put in the roll. And then I'm going to put every single note in between. I'm just going to walk down chromatically. You can do it by scale, but it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to just stretch it so that it fits in between like this. And I don't really care about specifically what rhythm this is, because since it's a roll, it's going to be so fast that you're not even going to comprehend it. So this is what I want. But the problem is the notes are playing so fast that the virtual instrument can't even keep up with it. So let me show you the trick that I like to do. So first I'm going to extend the notes right over them so that they kind of overlap each other, so it's not too choppy and it's a bit more slurred sounding. The next thing I'm going to do is bring the tempo of our song all the way down, probably maybe 50, because if it's playing at 50 BPM, now it's going to be able to play all those notes individually. I might even go even slower. As long as I can hear them smoothly between pitches, then that's perfect. So 38. Now I'm going to export it. I'm setting it to stretch, so if I move the tempo back, it's still going to be in the exact same spot, and then I can go back to our original tempo, and now you should be able to hear those rolls. And then I'm also going to do this down an octave as well. So let's re-export it again, only down an octave. Bring it all the way down. Perfect. Let's hear that with the rest. There's a little string riff at the beginning there. Here's a string riff. So once again, the roll's a little too low. I'm actually gonna just kind of move these over a bit just so that they're really human sounding. Set it to stretch, and then we go back to our original tempo. In terms of melodic content, that's pretty much everything. So the way I'm processing it is I have every single instrument going into a single mixer track. So here's the horn. I'm gonna be just doing a bit of EQ to bring out some really cool frequencies. So this sounds more similar to the original sample, so I'm gonna leave it like that. Here's the reed. And I think this frequency is really cool to bring up. In the mixer channel, I'm putting in some RC20, and this kind of emulates that old vinyl sound. So first we have some vinyl noise, and this just works as ambience. I'm also gonna put a little bit of distortion and some wobble. And that's already significantly different. You know? Once I add that, it just fills in a lot more space. But there's still a lot of stuff in the sample, so let's listen to it again. So listen to it, you can hear a lot of percussion and drum elements going on.
Look at you go.
I can hear some vocal chants right on the downbeat. There. Right there. Probably again.
Look at you go.
I have a couple here, they're not the exact same, but they get the job done. Just like the other instruments, we're putting the vocal chants into the RC20. Putting a lot of reverb and just letting it be in the background. I hear a percussion doing 16th notes.
Look at you go.
I have a little congo. We're going to loop that here. I hear something on the high end, and it sounds like a tambourine. Tambourine is playing twice as fast. Yeah. So you can do that. You know, just kind of varying the rhythm a bit. That should be okay. I hear a little percussion just doing some simple syncopation. Here's the percussion rhythm, just a little bit of syncopation in the middle. I think we have enough components for a sample now. So this is the sample, and this is pretty much carrying the entire beat. The drums are actually really simple.
One in the hand, one in the bag, bubbling. Look at the cash coming in. Come get your man, this little nigga bugging me.
Here's the kick and the snare pattern. So the snare is hitting on the 2 and 4, but there's also a little bit of syncopation in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the kick has that one strong downbeat. And then it does this cool rhythm where it kind of just follows right after that snare hit. Here's the hi-hat pattern. Really simple hi-hat. And this is the 808 pattern. The key of the song is B minor Hungarian, so you can see that it's pretty much just playing the root note, and then there's just a couple of octave jumps every so often. In terms of when the 808 is playing, it's pretty much following the kick pattern exactly. So let's hear them all together. So this is pretty much the drum pattern, super simple. We layer that right on top of the sample, and then they're really up front so they hit hard. And that is the breakdown for Bubblin by Anderson .Paak. Trying to recreate old vintage samples like this is really good ear training. In terms of the instruments, it's all very live and organic sounding. Obviously, virtual instruments aren't as good as the real thing, but there's always a couple tricks you can do to make it sound more realistic. In terms of the theory, it's using an ethnic scale, and that's always fun to hear. Remember, when you're using ethnic scales, don't really worry about the harmony. It's more melodically driven. This song in particular didn't really have a chord progression or anything. The 808 was just playing the root note the entire time. What I love about this song is that the producer understood that the sample was already complex, so he only had to go really basic with the drums. This is a really good song to study when you're trying to make your own samples. Sometimes you'll have to add some ambience or percussive textures or organic sounds to really bring that sample to life.